This is going to be probably a little bit longer than normal, so go ahead, get comfy, get pause if you need to, go get you something to drink, snuggle up in your favorite chair, get you a pad and paper or a pad and pen, because this masterclass is nothing but information. It's one of those things that I do periodically, where there's no sales, not like a normal masterclass or webinar. There's no sales. What we're doing today is absolutely nothing but knowledge and information. So let's start because we've got a lot to cover. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our masterclass on becoming grant ready and crafting an effective funding strategy. So today we'll dive deep into the essential concept of grant readiness and its significance in nonprofit funding. So let's begin by defining what it means to be grant ready. I know you probably have seen it in so many groups. People always say, well, you need to be grant ready, but what does that really mean? Grant readiness isn't just about writing grant proposals. There is a component to being grant ready that, being ready for that particular grant. But what we're talking about today is something that encompasses having the infrastructure, capacity, and organizational readiness to pursue and manage grants effectively. So we're talking a broader picture here. So grant readiness is like having a strong foundation before you build a house. So without it, your grant seeking efforts may not yield the results you desire. All right, let's get into this even further. Grant readiness is a fundamental concept that forms the bedrock of success in the world of nonprofit funding. To truly grasp its significance, we must go beyond the surface and understand that grant readiness is not merely about the act of writing grant proposals. It is a multifaceted and comprehensive state of preparedness that an organization must attain to navigate the intricate landscape of grant seeking and management effectively. So at its core, grant readiness is akin to the foundation upon which a sturdy and resilient structure is built. It's the context of in the context of nonprofit organizations, this foundation compromises three key pillars. You have your infrastructure, capacity, and organizational readiness. So let's define these terms so we all understand what we're discussing today. So infrastructure is the physical and organizational framework supporting your nonprofit's day-to-day operations and long-term goals. This encompasses having a clear and compelling mission and vision statements, and these serve as guiding beacons for your organization. It involves establishing a well-defined organizational structure with roles and responsibilities clearly outlined. Infrastructure also entails adopting sound governance practices and creating policies and procedures that ensure ethical and accountable operations. So without a solid infrastructure in place, pursuing grants would be akin to constructing a house on unstable ground, which is a recipe for instability and potential failure. And that's not what we want. Next is capacity. And capacity in the context of grant readiness refers to your organization's ability to effectively plan, execute, and manage projects funded by grants. It includes having a skilled and dedicated workforce with the expertise needed to carry out the proposed projects. Moreover, capacity entails the ability to engage and collaborate with stakeholders, both within and outside your organization, to maximize the impact of your initiatives. So without the necessary capacity, securing grants can be an exercise in futility, as you may struggle to deliver on your commitments effectively. And when you don't deliver on those commitments, you shoot yourself in the foot for applying for grants with that organization again. So we need to make sure that we have the capacity for grants. And then third is organizational readiness. So grant readiness extends beyond the technical aspects of grant seeking and encompasses a holistic state of organizational readiness. This readiness involves a commitment to a culture of learning and adaptation, where your organization is agile and responsive to challenges and changes. It also means having the systems and processes in place for rigorous program evaluation and performance measurement. Organizational readiness ensures your nonprofit is well prepared to secure grants, utilize those resources efficiently, and achieve lasting positive outcomes. So in essence, grant readiness is the fusion of these three elements: infrastructure, capacity, and organizational readiness. And it's fused into a cohesive and proactive approach. It's the readiness to seize opportunities, the ability to effectively communicate your mission, the capacity to execute projects excellently, and the commitment to ongoing improvement. So as we proceed through this masterclass, we'll delve deeper into these elements, providing you with practical insights and strategies to bolster your organization's grant readiness and overall effectiveness in pursuing your noble mission. All right, so grant readiness is a pivotal concept that cannot be overstated in the world of nonprofit organizations. It is the first step to grants. But why is it so crucial? And what are the tangible benefits it brings to the table? So let's talk or explore the compelling reasons why grant readiness should be at the forefront of every nonprofit's strategy. So to begin with, grant readiness significantly enhances your organization's competitiveness in the fiercely competitive landscape of grant funding. Grantors often receive an overwhelming number of applications for limited funds. So in such a competitive environment, being grant ready sets you apart. Grant-ready organizations are better equipped to meet grantors' rigorous criteria and expectations. They have the organizational infrastructure, capacity, and track record to demonstrate that they are reliable and capable stewards of the funds they receive. And another valuable benefit of grant readiness is boosting your organization's credibility. When you prioritize grant readiness, you send a powerful message to funders and stakeholders that you are committed to excellence and transparency in your operations. And funders, whether they are foundations, government agencies, or private donors, are more likely to trust organizations that have invested in grant readiness. This trust can lead to long-term partnerships and increased funding opportunities. And so last, we have grant readiness is not just about securing grants. It's also about effectively managing them. Grantors expect organizations to use their funds efficiently, achieve measurable outcomes, and provide transparent reporting. Grant-ready organizations are better equipped to meet these expectations. So by focusing on grant readiness, your organization can streamline the grant management process, reduce administrative burden, and ensure that funds are put to their intended use, ultimately leading to more successful and impactful grant projects. Okay, so grant readiness, as we've discussed, is a multifaceted concept that goes beyond the mere act of seeking grants. So to help you gain a comprehensive understanding, we're now going to break down the key components of grant readiness. These components are like the building blocks of a strong grant-ready organization, each playing a pivotal role in your nonprofit's ability to pursue and manage grants effectively. All right, so the components that we're talking about are going to be your organizational structure, your program development, your financial management, and evaluation and learning. So the first crucial component is organizational structure. So imagine your organization as a house. A well-structured house ensures stability and functionality. So organizational structure is crucial for nonprofits as it establishes resilience, grant readiness, and mission fulfillment. So with a clear mission, vision, and values, as well as a strong governance framework, your organization can weather storms, position itself as a reliable partner for potential funders, and achieve its ambitious goals. It's the bedrock upon which your entire organization stands, ensuring stability, purpose, and effective operations. All right, so let's talk about 4 main factors in organizational structure most related to grant readiness. So the first is your clear mission, vision, and values. So at the core of your organizational structure lie your clear mission, vision, and values. So your mission serves as the North Star, defining why your organization exists and the change you seek to create in the world. Your vision paints a vivid picture of the future you aspire to bring about. The guiding light inspires your team and stakeholders, showcasing the ultimate destination your organization aims to reach. Now, your values are the ethical compass of your organization. They shape your culture and inform your decisions. Together, these elements provide your organization with a clear sense of identity and purpose. The next thing that we need to really focus on when we're talking about being grant ready is strong board of directors. So your board is the governing body that oversees your organization's activities and ensures alignment with its mission and goals. So a robust board comprises of individuals with diverse skills, expertise, and perspectives. Their commitment to your mission and their ability to provide strategic guidance are invaluable assets to you. Third is your governance practices. So effective governance practices are the rules of the road for your organization. They ensure that your operations are transparent, ethical, and accountable. These practices range from financial oversight to conflict of interest policies, fostering trust and credibility. All right, and last is strategic planning and measurable goals. So, building upon this foundation, we turn to strategic planning and the setting of measurable goals. So, strategic planning involves defining your long-term vision and outlining its strategies. Measurable goals are the milestones that mark your progress along the way. They clarify what success looks like and guides your organization's actions, setting specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound or SMART goals, which creates a roadmap for your organization's journey, making tracking progress and demonstrating your commitment to fulfilling your mission easier. I hope that you have caught on here a little bit, because the steps in the Nonprofit Founders Club follow a lot of what I'm talking about. The first thing we do is we build our board. Then we set a strategic plan. I hope you see where following the steps in the Nonprofit Founders Club not only helps you get funding, it helps you get grants. So I wanted to point that out before we moved on to the second one, which you're probably going to recognize: program development and impact. So the second key component is program development and impact. Your programs are the heart of your organization, the vehicles through which you fulfill your mission. So grantors look for programs that align closely with their priorities and create tangible, positive change in the community. So achieving this alignment requires assessing community needs, developing logical frameworks for your programs, and establishing robust monitoring and evaluation systems. So let's briefly take a closer look at programs. So the first thing we said was alignment with mission. So this is a fundamental principle, and your programs should be a direct reflection of your organization's mission. They are the tangible manifestations of your commitment to creating positive change in the world. When your programs align closely with your mission, and we talk about having a signature program, then it sends a powerful message to both your team and potential funders that you are dedicated to achieving your stated goals and that every effort is purpose-driven. Okay, the next thing is a thorough needs assessment. So, how do you ensure that your programs effectively address the needs of your community or your target population? So this brings out the second key point: a thorough needs assessment. So before designing any program, conducting a comprehensive assessment of the needs, challenges, and opportunities within your community is essential. This assessment involves engaging with your community, stakeholders, and experts to understand the issues at hand. The insights you gather during this process will serve as the foundation for building your programs. Okay, the next one is logical frameworks. And so this is the third pillar of program development. So these frameworks provide a structured way to plan and implement your programs. They help you define the inputs, activities, outputs, and outcomes of each program. Logical frameworks enable you to articulate how your programs will create a positive impact, making communicating your intentions to potential funders easier. Those of you in the Nonprofit Founders Club, I have a template that is a logical framework for developing a program, and it incorporates the 10 common grant questions. So makes it very easy for you to not only build this program, but build it in a way that funders are looking for you to build it. All right, now we go to the robust monitoring and evaluations systems. And they are indispensable. So grantors want to see evidence of the impact their funds will have. Monitoring and evaluation systems enable you to track progress, measure outcomes, and gather data demonstrating your program's effectiveness. These systems provide accountability and a mechanism for continuous improvement. Collecting and analyzing data allows you to adapt and refine your programs to achieve even better results. Your programs are the vehicles through which you drive change, and grant readiness ensures they are well equipped for the journey. All right, now let's talk about financial management. And financial stability is a crucial aspect in the third component, which is financial management. So just as a house requires a strong foundation, your organization needs a solid financial infrastructure. So as we continue our journey towards grant readiness, we arrive at the crucial juncture of financial management. And just as the heart is essential for sustaining life, financial management is indispensable in the vitality and longevity of your nonprofit organization. Now, what am I talking about, right? So let's talk about some of the more nuances of financial management. So the very first thing is budgeting. And a well-structured budget in your financial roadmap, guiding your organization's expenditures and ensuring financial responsibility. So in essence, crafting budgets that align with your mission and strategic goals is a pivotal aspect of grant readiness. It ensures the effective allocation of resources and strengthens your organization's ability to communicate its financial strategy to funders, stakeholders, and your team. So by mastering this skill, you empower your organization to secure grants and thrive in pursuit of your noble mission. Next, alongside budgeting, is accounting and financial reporting. And these are also vital components. These processes ensure transparency, accuracy, and compliance with financial regulations. So what exactly are we talking about here? It might be sound financial accounting principles. Are you following GAAP? Accurate record keeping, financial statements, funder expectations, strategic decision-making, and risk management. So sound financial accounting principles and clear financial reporting are not merely an administrative tasks, but integral to your organization's credibility, accountability, and strategic success. They demonstrate your commitment to responsible financial management and ensure that your stakeholders have confidence in your organization's ability to achieve its mission while prudently stewarding its resources. The next thing in financial management is diversifying revenue streams. So while grants can be a significant funding source, relying solely on them can be risky. So the third facet of financial management is diversifying revenue streams. So diversification is a strategic approach to managing your organization's finances, reducing over-reliance on a single funding source, such as grants. So we'll cover this more in depth in the next section. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here. Just know that the primary objective of diversification is to enhance your financial stability. So let's talk a little bit about financial stability. So relying solely on grants or any other income stream for that matter can leave your organization vulnerable to fluctuations in funding, which may be influenced by economic conditions, shift in grantors' priorities, or unforeseen events. Now, during the pandemic, we had all of these at the same time. And it's a great illustration of what we're talking about. So during the pandemic, those organizations who relied heavily on in-person events or grant funding either had to shift to other strategies or face closing their doors permanently. Those organizations who were able to shift their income streams often found that they were able to cover their budgets, and many wound up with a surplus. I saw so many stories during the pandemic where organizations would just make adjustments in their fundraising strategies, and they wound up funding their entire budget for the year in like a month or two, and were astounded at it. But it was a testament to them having enough infrastructure and resources to be able to do that. So diversification helps you weather these uncertainties by spreading your financial risk across multiple funding sources. If one source experiences a decline, others can provide a safety net, allowing your organization to continue its crucial work. So moreover, diversification aligns with the principle of sustainability. By building a diverse funding portfolio, you're better equipped to withstand challenges and continue pursuing your mission over the long term. Diversification is a strategy imperative for nonprofit organizations. By cultivating individual donors, forming corporate partnerships, developing earned income streams, and exploring various forms of government funding, you not only reduce your vulnerability to funding fluctuations, but also strengthen your financial resilience and capacity to create lasting impact. And fourth is building sustainable financial models. So this is our final concept that we need to talk about in building sustainable financial models. So, sustainability ensures your organization can thrive long term, regardless of economic or funding challenges. Effective financial management involves maintaining a dedicated balance between addressing immediate needs and planning for your organization's long term sustainability and growth. So, let's briefly explore how we achieve that equilibrium. So first, we're building reserves. And this is a fundamental step in ensuring your organization's financial stability. Reserves are a financial cushion that can help you weather unexpected challenges, economic downturns, or short-term funding gaps without compromising your mission. Most people say that your reserves need to be anywhere from 3 to 6 months or a year's worth of expenses. Depends on your organization and how conservative you want to be. Next is planning for growth. So, growth is often a long-term objective for nonprofit organizations. Effective planning for growth involves envisioning how your organization will evolve and scale its impact over time. Strategic planning or a strategic plan is a great way to look at planning for growth over a longer period of time. Number 3, managing financial risk. Every organization faces financial risks, whether they are related to economic volatility, unexpected expenses, or changing regulatory environments. Effective financial management includes managing financial risks proactively. So this means you need a budget. You need to understand where you are financially and what might be changing that you can't control that you may need to react to. That's managing your financial risk. Next is sustainable financial models. So sustainable financial models ensure your organization's long-term viability. They consider factors like revenue generation, cost management, and resource allocation to strike a balance between immediate needs and future aspirations. And then we have a continuous monitoring and adaptation. So financial management is an ongoing process. So regularly reviewing financial performance, assessing progress towards financial goals, and adapting strategies as needed are vital practices to maintain financial health and achieve long-term stability. I want to point out that is one of the main reasons why in board meetings we have to have those financial reports so that we can stay on top of assessing and monitoring them. So now we're going to go to the fourth and final component, which is evaluation and learning. And so this reflects an ongoing process of improvement and adaptation. So grantors seek organizations that are successful and committed to getting even better. Grant readiness is not static. It's a dynamic state that evolves with your organization. So you need to make sure you are continuously evaluating your programs, evaluating your organization, your policies, your procedures, all of those things. And then always just make sure that you are learning something new. Okay, that is our first section. And we have the next section now where we're going to start talking, we're going to shift gears, and we're going to talk about crafting a comprehensive funding strategy. And we'll talk a little bit about where grants typically fit into successful funding strategies. So when you begin crafting your funding strategy, you must first assess the funding landscape thoroughly. So this entails identifying various potential funding sources, including grant opportunities, government funding, corporate partnerships, individual giving, and other revenue streams. And then diversifying your funding sources reduces your organization's vulnerability and ensures financial stability. So now, how do we craft a fundraising strategy now that we've got what we need? So first is a comprehensive assessment. So this is the first step, and it's the comprehensive assessment of the funding landscape. So this means leaving no stone unturned as you identify potential funding sources that align with your organization's mission and goals. Okay, so this could be a SWOT analysis, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You could do that for your funding. It might be taking a look at the fundraising strategy hierarchy and seeing, where in the hierarchy you can pull different activities from. Whole list of things that you could look at, but you are going to seriously look at everything available to you and decide what is doable. So the next thing is grant opportunities. So they're often the focal point of a funding strategy, but they shouldn't be your only strategy. As a matter of fact, I've recently seen where it's recommended that grant funding is probably no more than 20% of your budget. And then we have government funding, which would also fall into the grant funding for me as 20% of your budget. And so it can be a substantial source of support, but with that kind of money comes regulations and all kinds of controls and audits and things like that. So just be aware that if you go for government funding, it's highly competitive and you are going to wind up with, I've been involved in it. I've seen binders this big, several of them, with the requirements and the regulations to run one program for the government. So just be aware. There's a place for it all, but you really need to understand what you're getting yourself into. Next, we have corporate partnerships. And so corporate partnerships can also bring in financial support. It can bring in in-kind contributions and even volunteer engagement. So, and another thing corporate partnerships can do, there are some corporations, larger corporations, I think FedEx was one of those, or UPS. If their employees volunteer a certain number of hours with your organization, it opens grant opportunities up for you too. So always good to think about those kinds of things. Now, individual giving should be your foundation of your funding. 2/3 of contributions typically come from individual giving. And so this can and should be a force for you in your planning. So then we're going to talk about a central theme throughout this section is the concept of diversification for stability. So relying solely on one funding source, such as grants, can leave your organization vulnerable to fluctuations in the funding landscape. I have always heard that there should be no funding source that was more than a third of all funding, simply because if you lost a third, it would be a lot easier to cut expenses or make that funding up through other streams so that you wouldn't have to close your doors. So by diversifying your funding sources, you create a financial safety net that can withstand economic uncertainties and shifts in donor priorities. Now, this diversification not only ensures your organization's stability, but also strengthens your position when applying for grants. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about the benefits of diversifying your funding sources. And so this is a pivotal aspect of your funding strategy, one that can significantly enhance your organization's financial resilience, adaptability, and mission impact. So the primary benefit of diversification is risk mitigation. So relying solely on grants can be precarious. Relying solely on any one funding source can be precarious. But grant funding can fluctuate due to changing priorities, economic conditions, or shifts in the philanthropic landscape. And let me give you a real life example. I worked for an organization that was solely funded through grants, federal grants in particular, state and federal government grants. Now, this was at a time when we shifted presidents. One president wasn't reelected, a new president was elected. The executive director was absolutely ecstatic that this one person got elected as president, because she just knew that this president was going to help the organization. This organization was a larger organization where, locally we had individual organizations, but it was part of a larger network. And so she was just sure that the president was going to help us with our funding woes. We were going to get pumped more cash. It was going to be awesome. In his State of the Union address, right after getting elected, he said specifically our type of organization would have funding pulled. You can imagine the disappointment. I laugh now because I look back and it was like she was so just sold on this idea, and then to nationally specifically say that he would be cutting funding for this type of organization, wound up having to lay off people because of it. It was that drastic of a situation. So that's just an example of how they did not mitigate the risk by just solely relying on grants, because you are at the mercy, especially when it's a government grant, you're at the mercy of the whims of the people who fund you. So by diversifying your funding sources, you can create a safety net. If one source decreases or disappears, others can help bridge the gap. If you are solely relying on grants, then you've got to find another grant to fill that gap, and grants take a while. You're not going to be able to be very flexible or adaptable if that is your only funding source. And that goes for any one funding source. So The risk mitigation ensures that your organization's stability and ability to continue its mission, even in challenging times. All right, now, financial stability is another critical advantage to diversifying your funds. So, multiple funding streams provide a steady influx of resources, reducing financial uncertainty. And this stability is essential for long-term planning, staff retention or staff hiring, and consistent program deliverability. It also enhances your organization's credibility in the eyes of donors, partners, and stakeholders. It signals that you have a robust financial foundation and are well prepared to steward their investments responsibly. All right, next we have mission flexibility. So diversification offers mission flexibility. Different funding sources may have varying requirements, timelines, and expectations. So this diversity allows you to pursue projects and initiatives that align with your mission, even if they don't fit neatly into one funding category. So for example, while grants may support specific programs, individual giving might provide the flexibility to invest in organizational capacity building, innovation, or addressing emerging community needs. And then in today's dynamic world, adaptability is valuable. Diversification enhances your organization's adaptability to changing circumstances. It allows you to pivot when necessary, responding to emerging challenges or opportunities. This adaptability is especially crucial in times of crisis or when community needs evolve. It positions your organization to be agile, innovative, and responsive, ensuring your mission remains relevant and impactful. And then diversification also fosters stronger relationships. So building connections with a variety of donors, partners, and stakeholders enriches your network. These relationships can lead to collaborative opportunities, shared resources, and increased support. So moreover, a diverse funding portfolio can attract funders who appreciate the stability and effectiveness that come with diversified financial practices. So diversifying your funding sources isn't just a financial strategy, it's a strategic move that can fortify your organization's missions, operations, and resilience. It ensures you're not dependent on a single source of support and positions your organization to thrive, adapt, and make a lasting impact in your community and beyond. By embracing diversification, you're not only enhancing your grant readiness, but also creating a more vibrant and sustainable future for your organization. All right, so let's talk just a little bit about building relationships with funders. And so building strong relationships with potential funders is really crucial to your funding strategy. It's essential to cultivate these relationships before applying for grants. Effective communication, networking, and engagement with potential funders can significantly enhance your chances of success. So building trust and understanding with funders can lead to long-term partnerships that go beyond a single grant. So this is where the art of grant acquisition meets the science of sustainable funding. So let's talk briefly about some of the elements here. So relationships with funders are the lifeblood of successful grant seeking. They offer the power of relationships, a force that can significantly boost your chances of securing grants and creating lasting partnerships. Effective communication, networking, and engagement with potential funders can't be overstated. These actions are not just prerequisites, they are strategic moves that lay the groundwork for meaningful connections. So, the core of building relationships with funders is cultivating trust and understanding. Funders want to invest in organizations they believe in and understand. They want to see alignment between your mission and their funding priorities. Your story should not only highlight your organization's impact, but also convey your commitment, transparency, and accountability. And let me tell you, this part is not just for grantors. This is for anyone you want to become a donor. Next is building relationships with funders is not a one-off endeavor. It's about long-term partnerships. These partnerships extend beyond a single grant cycle. And by nurturing these relationships, you create a network of support that can sustain your organization over time. Funders become more than just sources of financial support. They become champions of your mission, advocates for your cause, and partners in your journey. So engagement with funders should be strategic engagement. It involves understanding their interests, expectations, and priorities. It's about tailoring your communications and proposals to align with their specific goals. And then building relationships with funders extends beyond grant applications. It's about engaging with funders throughout your organization's life cycle. This engagement includes regular updates on your progress, invitations to visit your programs, and involving funders in your impact stories. It's about making funders an integral part of your mission's success. All right, let's move on to grant writing as part of the strategy. So, grant writing is integral to your funding strategy, but it should not be your first step. Before you write a grant proposal, ensure you clearly understand your organization's mission, goals, and the specific funding needs for your projects. Grant writing is a cornerstone of your funding strategy, but it's not your initial step. It's the culmination of careful planning and relationship building. So let's dive into this a little bit more. So approaching grant writing strategically is paramount. It's essential to view grant writing not as a standalone activity, but as an integral component of your broader funding strategy. This is one of those income streams, not the income stream. And so before you put pen to paper or fingers to keyboard, ensure that you have a strategic approach. This includes a clear understanding of your organization's mission, long-term goals, and the specific funding needs for your project. I can't tell you that enough. Next, grant writing is most effective when it aligns seamlessly with your mission. So, funders want to see that their investment directly contributes to your mission's success, but there is an alignment that has to happen. You can't make a program fit them if it doesn't fit you. I have seen this over and over. Someone reads a grant and say, "Oh yeah, we can do that." but you don't have a program. You had no intentions of having that program. It was just, we want that grant funding. That's not how it works. Both of your missions need to align, and you shouldn't have to make it fit. If you have to make it fit, it's not right. So then let's move on. Successful grant writing hinges on understanding funder priorities. So each grantor has unique goals and interests. And so tailoring your grant proposals to align with these priorities significantly enhances your chances of success. It shows funders that you've done your homework and are genuinely committed to their mission as well. Now, you should have a program that fits with the funder. This is just where you're connecting the dots. You're showing the funder that what you're already doing aligns with what they want. Connecting the dots. That's it. You're not creating new dots. You're not creating new programs. You're just connecting the dots that are already there. All right, next, building a compelling case for support is an art form. And so this includes crafting narratives that not only highlight your organization's achievements, but also convey the urgency and significance of your projects. And cases for support truly are art forms. That is not a lie. All right. And then last, grant writing is not about the final document. It's about the entire proposal development process. So, summarizing what we've just covered, grant writing is the culmination of a well-orchestrated strategy that encompasses mission alignment, understanding funders' priorities, and building strong cases for support. And by approaching grant writing strategically, you not only enhance your grant readiness, but also increase your likelihood to secure the resources needed to fulfill your mission and create lasting impact. Grant writing is your opportunity to turn your strategic vision into tangible funding that empowers your organization to make a difference in your community and your world. All right, so your funding strategy should balance proactive and reactive approaches. Be proactive in identifying potential funders, building relationships, and diversifying your revenue sources. Simultaneously, be prepared to react swiftly when grant opportunities arise, ensuring that your grant proposals align with your overall strategy. So balancing your funding strategy is akin to walking a tightrope. It involves harmonizing proactive and reactive approaches to maximize your organization's grant readiness and funding success. So the proactive identification and relationship building facet of your strategy is your foundation. It's about taking deliberate steps to shape your organization's funding future. This proactive stance involves identifying potential funders who align with your mission, values, and goals. Again, this may not just be grantors. This could be your ideal donor. And then it also means nurturing relationships with them well before any grant opportunity arises. Building trust and understanding is a long-term endeavor that pays dividends. Diversifying your revenue sources is another key aspect of proactivity. Now, we've gone into detail on diversifying your revenue sources. So it's really important not to rely on any one funding source and when you do this, you are enhancing your financial resilience. Next, grant opportunities often have tight timelines. So being prepared to react swiftly when these opportunities arise is crucial. So this doesn't mean scrambling to submit a proposal hastily. It means having the systems, knowledge, and resources in place to respond effectively when the right grant opportunity comes along. I've seen this happen too. Someone says, "Oh, this is a great grant, but it's due tomorrow. We've got to do it." And so now you're having to spend late night hours trying to get it in by midnight the next night. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that. Then the next thing we want to talk about is alignment with strategy. And so this is a critical thread running through this balancing act that we're doing. Reactive actions should always align with your proactive strategy. Okay, think about that. You have a proactive strategy in place. So your reactive actions need to fit inside that proactive strategy. So your relationships with potential funders should reflect the research and groundwork you've proactively done. Your grant proposal should resonate with your mission, your long-term goals, and the priorities you've identified. It's not just about chasing every grant opportunity. It's about pursuing the opportunities that fit seamlessly within your strategic framework. So in essence, your funding strategy is like a well-choreographed dance between proactivity and reactivity. By proactively identifying potential funders, building relationships, and diversifying your revenue sources, you set the stage for grant success. Simultaneously, by being prepared to react swiftly to grant opportunities that align with your strategy, you ensure that your organization is agile, competitive, and grant ready. So this balancing act ensures that your organization is not only poised for short-term wins, but also positioned for long-term sustainability and mission fulfillment. Grant readiness isn't about being solely reactive or solely proactive. It's about seamlessly blending the two approaches to create a dynamic, adaptable, and grant-ready organization. Okay, as we approach the end of our time together, I want to touch on how measuring the success of your funding strategy is key. And I have 4 points that I want to quickly go through. So first, we have measuring success. And this is integral to the evolution of your funding strategy. It's your compass guiding you toward your mission's fulfillment. Without measurement, your strategy lacks direction and adaptability. Next, the foundation of success measurement lies in establishing key performance indicators, or KPIs. These are quantifiable metrics that provide insights into your progress. KPIs vary from organization to organization, but could include the number of successful grants secured, the diversity of funding sources, the growth of your donor base, the impact of funded projects on your community, and the financial stability achieved through diversification. Next, we need regular review and adaptation. So measuring success isn't a one-time event, it's an ongoing practice. And so we need to emphasize the importance of regular review and adaptation. So your strategy should be dynamic, evolving in response to changing circumstances, donor priorities, and community needs. By regularly reviewing your KPIs and assessing your progress, you can identify areas for improvement and make timely adjustments. If a KPI isn't meeting your expectations, it's an opportunity to reevaluate your approach and explore new strategies. If a KPI exceeds expectations, it can inform decisions about scaling successful initiatives. All right, and last, we have data-informed decision-making. So success measurement isn't just about collecting data. It's about data-informed decision-making. Your KPIs should drive strategic decisions within your organization. Making the success of your funding strategy is not just or measuring the success of your funding strategy is not just a formality. It's a strategic imperative. So by establishing meaningful KPIs, regularly reviewing your progress, and adapting your strategy based on data-driven insights, you ensure that your organization remains on a path of continuous improvement and a sustained impact. Success measurement is your organization's compass, guiding you towards the fulfillment of your mission and ensuring that your grant readiness journey is not only purposeful, but also impactful. So in conclusion, a comprehensive funding strategy is the backbone of sustainable operations. And by addressing the funding landscape, building relationships with funders, and making grant writing an integral part of your strategy, you'll be better equipped to secure the resources needed to achieve your mission. And remember that grant readiness, which we discussed in section 1, and a well-crafted funding strategy go hand in hand. That's why we talked about both of them today. All right, I am going to take a look and see if there are any questions while we're on this live and see what I can find. I have to find y'all first. Okay. All right, I do not see any questions. So since there are no questions, I am going to go ahead and let y'all go and get back to whatever it is you're doing, because we've been here for a little bit. If you do have questions, or if you are in the replay and have questions, please put them in the comments. I will be going back and checking to make sure that everybody's questions get answered. If the answer is more than a few sentences in a comment, then I am more than happy to come back and make a video and answer your questions for you. So please make sure that you ask those questions. No question is dumb. We can certainly answer them. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. And I will see you next time.